Texas plains, a big steam engine rolled, chugging up the main line, smoke blowing black as coal. Folks would wave to 745 as she rolled into their town, praying to someday ride her rails when they were homeward bound. Oh, where did that engine go? Did she die in a public park? No, her friends had fired her, bowled her up, and she's rolling through the dark. She's headed back to see her pals, a brakeman in Palestine, a hobo out in Lafayette, and the ghosts along the line.
Abbott, Harry Abbott.
Erd Weber.
Mike Hankins. Jerry Lynch.
1921.
Yeah, it was put in the park in '56. We took it out in '83, started carrying the park in '89.
Yeah, it's been a while since it's been out in the park. Yeah, it was supposed to be running what for the World's Fair, something like that, some kind of.
Well, we was gonna for the bicentennial, we was trying to get it ready, but we just there was more involved in that. And
oh yeah, outdoor motorcycles. I mean, like you said, you got something good to go, and all the ugly little things that show their face.
Oh, we had to go to China and get the headlight. We had to buy from China. And they, up to a couple of years ago, they were still manufacturing these Mikados. This 282 Mikado engine.
Yeah, and the Japanese emperor who bought the hell out of it.
Yeah, and they tried to name these MacArthur's, but all the people that building them started calling them Mikado, so that stuck. This is one of 10 that was built in Algiers. It's the last remaining one. All the others are cut up for scrap. Oh, they got that engine started up down there.
I've been away so long, I thought a war that's come and gone. Doesn't anybody know my name? My sister's up and wed, my mom's took to bed. Now my old dog Red's gone lame. Please tell me if you can, what time do the trains roll in? 2:10, 6:18, 10:44.
An old black man that came up with his son. Years ago, he was one of the first black machinists of Kansas City. And he measured those counterweights with his hands, and he said that that engine is balanced for 95 miles an hour. It's got small drive wheels on it. These are 63-inch drivers. Some of the other engines had 75.
Would they fit larger drive wheels on this particular model?
No. So if you look at the space between the wheels, we don't have one.
No, you don't.
If you add an inch to each one, they'd be rubbing on each other. There's only 2 other locomotives like this that we know of. One's in Austin, Texas, owned by the Louisiana Steam Train Association. and it's in about 100,000 pieces right now, being rebuilt. It's another Southern Pacific, but it was built in Houston. There's a third one that was built by Baldwin, and Baldwin is the one that originally had the design. It's in a covered area at the Amtrak station in San Antonio, Texas. And as far as we know, that's the only 3 U.S.-made Mikados still left.
375 degrees, you get 200 pounds of pressure. But when you throw that into the cylinder up front, you lose a lot of that in condensation.
Yeah.
A lot of your heat. And what they did is they found that to build a bigger steam engine, all you do is have more problems. You don't get any more power. What they did is they took the steam from the steam dome and routed it forward into the smoke box and back and forth through the flues. And then they superheated that steam to 580 degrees.
Before it goes to the
Before
cylinder.
it went to the cylinder, they had no loss of evaporation, had a lot more power,
More
and
efficiency.
a lot more efficiency. Oh, that thing will outpull 3 inches.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
That's a hot rod. Well, you got to hold that baby back. It feels like a B-52 at low level when you're riding in that thing.
Just get out of my way.
It's just trying to find the center of the track, you know, going down there. It's
Yeah, engineer was telling me it
It's a
hunts.
lot different though. At least on this thing, they wave at you. B-52, they running high.
Yeah.
For the most part, this was a flatland engine. Southern Pacific ran in the southern parts of the state. She didn't burn coal, she burned heavy oil like bunker C or crude oil, because we got plenty of it in South Louisiana, South Texas. But she burned fuel oil, which was like cleaner, make a real good hot fire once you get it going, make plenty of steam. They just take so much maintenance. But when steam engines, when they quit using them in the mid-50s, they had turbines on the trucks under the boiler that would take the exhaust steam from these cylinders and they would pipe it in the back and run turbines on those truck wheels.
Get up and go.
When they got ready to start, it started so much smoother. You didn't spin your big traction wheels on the track. And you start going up a mountain or a hill, you just add a little steam to your trucks up underneath. Cut it off when you don't need it. I mean, they had gotten to be real sophisticated in using, you know, the efficiency of using steam was there, but it took so much manpower just to keep it going. You got to tend the fire, you got to watch the boiler pressure, you got to watch your water level. I mean, somebody's got to be there.
Yeah, you just can't turn it off and then restart it.
That's right.
Riding on the city of New Orleans, the Illinois Central, the Monday morning rail. There's 15 cars and 15 restless riders, 3 conductors and 25 sacks of mail. They're out on a southbound odyssey. The train pulls out of Kankakee, rolling past the houses, farms, and fields, passing towns that have no names, freight yards full of old gray men, and the graveyards of the rusted automobiles, singing, "Good morning, America, how are you? Say, don't you know me, I'm your native son. I'm the train that calls the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done."
How do you generate electricity?
Oh, it's got a little, I'm sorry, it's got a little generator up on the top with a little steam turbine on it.
Okay, and how you generate your air pressure for your brakes?
The air compressors in Colorado right now being rebuilt. Well, that's a steam operated pump.
All that stuff works off the main boiler.
Yeah.
Jeez. This thing, you just gotta make tons of steam. All the other and all the other accessories.
Oh yeah.
This is a quarter locomotive. This locomotive runs on compressed air. It has 3 giant high pressure air tanks. I think it's pumped up to about 3,000 pounds all night, and then it's run all day long on compressed air. There's no boiler in it. There's no fire. It's made to work in a hazardous area, flammable area. There's no sparks. There's heat generated from the compressed air, but there's no ignition source on this thing. This was sitting over in Gretna for quite a while, over there and around the fence, and they, I guess the kids got climbing around on it and stuff. They wanted us to either fence it in or move it, so we decided to move it. The cylinder here is a lot bigger than the one on the other side. This one is a lot smaller. It's about half the size of the one over there. Air comes in through here, is exhausted through here, goes through a cooler down here to the center of the engine. The air is cooled down and the moisture is taken out of it. And then it's run through this cylinder, which is twice the size of that, and the air is recycled. And then it's exhausted up through this exhaust right here. So this is a real efficient engine. It uses the air twice. This is the only 3-tank quarter engine I've seen on the internet.
It may be the only one in the world.
But it's the only picture. The only picture I've seen on the internet is a picture of this one.
This has got brass bushings in it. Friction. Now, when we had the major overhaul done 3.5 years ago, the front truck, the pony wheels in the front, and the wheels under the tender were converted to roller bearings. All the old cars that we pull, the railroads will not let you pull a car on that track with friction bearings anymore. Fire hazard. So we swapped trucks from newer cars or redid the bearings underneath them to get rid of the friction bearings. So everything we have now that we put on the main line has got roller bearings in it.
What we don't want, this thing set out the zoo and rusted apart, 745. We don't want it to be another static display and rust away again.
Right.
This the last one built in Louisiana. It was built in Algiers in 1921 out of spare parts is how they actually built it. Back during the Depression, they had an engine shop over there, Southern Pacific did, and they had a guy over, a parts man who was looking to put his people to work over in Algiers, so he started ordering extra engine parts. And before anybody figured it out up north, he had enough pieces down here to build 10 engines. And so that's how they got built. We've had it up to 62 unofficially, and we had to hold it back. It wanted to run. It burns about 100 gallons of water a mile and 10 gallons to the mile on oil. We burn used motor oil.
Not all of them. Outside. Yeah, okay. This is an inline inductor. It takes steam out the boiler. It sucks water in. This is just an overflow. It sucks water in from this pipe from the tender and pushes it on around the other side, pushes it in the boiler. A strange but marvelous machine that takes 170 or 180 pounds of steam pressure, picks up water and pushes that water right back in 170 pounds of pressure. It changes pressure to velocity, and when that water comes out of here, it's moving at about 500 miles an hour, and it just crams it in. So it's collecting heat from the steam.
But you got to do that manually.
Right. And the other one is manually. You open the steam valve, you turn that steam turbine on right there, and it sucks water up out the tender, pushes it through that heat exchanger that Keith told you about up in the smoke box.
So you got to keep monitoring your water level in the boiler all the time.
When it comes out of there, it goes to that wad pump that I'm working on, and it pushes it into the boiler.
You see the kids and old men. You see old men at the crossing with their hand over the heart and crying, and they're applauding as you drive, as you run by. And we even talked to an old black man who used to work on all these things. And he would go, and his son would lead him around, and we had it fired up, and it was hot. And he'd go around, and he knew everything not to touch, what to touch, and he'd tell us all about the engine. He was blind. He knew exactly where everything was. He's about 70 years old.
Yeah, no, it
You
didn't.
need to put some ooze on that.
I think it just rusted shut.
Yeah.
It's got so much rust in between the gears that I
They're
think
not gears anymore, they're just
Chunks of steel.
yeah, right.
Coming into Hammond last year, about 10 o'clock at night, state trooper following us down the highway. He got on the radio and he called 911. He said, man, they got something going down the track. It's got fire coming out the bottom of it. That whole thing is on fire. Don't know what the heck it is. And man, it got a steam engine. It's gonna have fire. What do you expect? Oh, well, I didn't know.
You know, he's probably 20 years old.
when they was blowing the whistle, huh?
Yeah, blowing. I heard the whistle. I said, "Damn, that ain't no diesel
No,
locomotive."
one of them sounded like a riverboat too. On it, we've had 3 whistles on there so far, but
Y'all having failure problems with them? Or you
no,
just looking for the right tone?
it just like the engineer we had, he travels with his own whistle. A lot of the engineers, they bring their own whistles and stuff, and we had 2 on this, and we just blow them. Young people have them. They want them to be used. And
Oh yeah, that's part of the style.